Okay, welcome back baseball fans to the Eliminating the Indians video. Boy, they really played the Red Sox tough in that series, but the home team won every game. Red Sox won the 5th game in Fenway at home. Indians fell just a little short. Two back-to-back good years for the Indians, which, shows what could happen if you're not stuck in the American League East and you're in a separate division, the American League North, with Detroit and a couple expansion teams. Cleveland has enough to get in the playoffs. Once they're in, winning a playoff series is the next step. That could be difficult for this team moving forward. So first thing we're going to do is pull out the 76 guys who made a decent enough impact on this team. Okay. Okay, so who's coming back next year for the Indians? Looks like they're going to bring back 8 hitters and 4 pitchers. They got catcher, a first baseman, second baseman, third, short. Well, you know what? The 8 guys are very flexible. They're all over the diamond. You got a catcher, a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop. And Lee Lacy can play anywhere. So, yeah, it's focus on the pitching first and then fill the holes on the offense. And for pitching, you got front and back, but your 2 lefty starters are gone, who were so effective. Rao and Travers are gone. McEnany and Buskey at the back end of the bullpen. Those are coming back to the Indians. And now let's take a look at who's leaving, or who's being up for review. We have 4 and 4. And for hitting, Buck Martinez was with the Royals, so I don't know if he needs to come back for this team. Alex Johnson's getting old. Cheney's not much. Manning, though, will be the center fielder. So it seems like the 9 positions of the Indians are going to be pretty much the same. Now, as far as pitching goes, Travers and Rao, believe it or not, never had a history with Cleveland. Milwaukee, the Dodgers. So this is going to be tricky to figure out what happens next with these guys. Dunning doesn't do much, and of course Kern will still pitch for Cleveland moving forward before he ends up on Texas. So let's see what they decide to do in Baseball Reference. Okay, so 3 hitters and 3 pitchers, 4 and 4, are going to be debated here. And we're going to start with Darryl Cheney. Not expecting a lot from him. Had a 10-year career. Really wasn't with Cleveland. Cincinnati, Atlanta his whole career. He'll have a 77 card, so he qualifies for waivers. But he's not very good. So I would say at this point you may as well retire him. But let's put him on the waiver spot first, and then we can push him into retirement if we need to moving forward. Alex Johnson. Surprised he's lasted this long. And I don't have to go any further, because on his year it says 76 right there. So he's a forced retirement. He has to retire. He has no card. His career's over. Next up, Rick Manning. He'll come back. Good defensive center fielder. Had a nice long career. He was just getting started here with a Cleveland hat on in this picture. He'll go from Cleveland to Milwaukee, but that's not until the 80s. He'll be with the Tribe, many years. His average isn't that great, but he has speed and defense. 76, 730 OPS, and he does not get back to that until 1986. But he's got some interesting speed and defense cards. He's an Indian. He'll probably be a 1 in center field when on the selected card they choose. Interestingly, they didn't give him another Gold Glove after that, if you look up on reference here. So the 76 card you just saw, right there, that's the only Gold Glove for Rick Manning during this time. That might have something to do with how much participation as well, if he was a platoon player. How many Bucks are there? We got Buck Martinez, Buckshot May. Huh. There's Buck with a Blue Jays hat on. Never really played for Cleveland either. Kansas City, Milwaukee, Toronto. He'll go through to the 80s though, and he's just sort of getting started. And I wouldn't really pan any of these batting averages yet because he'll always function in a platoon. Usually he'll have a good throwing arm, and usually he'll hit lefties better than righties. Now 79, he hits 270. So there you go. So his careers definitely will continue. The question is he a keeper or a waiver? He has no Cleveland loyalty here, so let's put him on waivers for now. He'll definitely be back in the league. Someone will scoop him up for his throwing arm and the ability to hit lefties. Cleveland, we're going to put him on waiver now, but we may decide to make him a keeper. Now the pitchers, Bill Travers. We're going to have to start getting clever with Travers and Rao. You see, he is a Milwaukee Brewer through and through, and there you go, until he plays for the Angels in '81. So that All-Star year for Milwaukee was just claimed by the Cleveland. The other part of the issue is performance. So his performance dips in the next 2 years, improves in '79 with Milwaukee. What I'm thinking in this particular case is this kind of a sign and trade thing. So they'll put him in as a keeper, but probably trade him to the Brewers. So let's put him on the keeper list momentarily. Another reason to keep him is that he's left-handed, which is value in itself. Doug Rao, the next guy, similar story we'll find. Look at that, his career ends the same year Travers' career ends. Very similar scenario, entire career of the Dodgers, and they also, the Indians. Maybe this is why they were good the last couple of years, is because they took pitchers out of other organizations that were pretty darn good. And in '76, he's slightly worse. In '77 and '78. So 2 more years for the Dodgers. And I think it's the same situation. A $10,000 trade on the way. Next up, Steve Dunning. Not expecting a lot of Dunning. He's got 1 more year in '77. In 18 innings, so there's no card for that. So he's a retire. So he's retired, Dunning. And now, Dunning and Alex Johnson are definitely retired, which means that Cheney can safely be on the waivers with Buck Martinez. And the last guy is Jim Kern. And Kern, of course, look at his career with a big beard. There he is. Well, he doesn't have a beard in this picture, though. Anyway, Cleveland hat on there for Kern. 3 straight appearances in the All-Star game, the first 2 for Cleveland. '79 is arguably his best year with the Rangers. One sparkling 1.57 ERA. But the Indians are going to hold on to him. And what this currently means is if they sit tight, they are ready to go for the draft at 4-2-2. The only question is Cleveland allowed to hang on to Travers and Rao when other organizations desired their services? Milwaukee, I'm even going to write the name in here. Milwaukee and the Dodgers. I think it'd be kind of unfair if you don't at least have trade overtures between these teams. We know that Milwaukee could unload, for instance. Let's take a look at Milwaukee and the Dodgers real quick while we're here, because they're both gone. So Milwaukee, they could unload Jerry Augustine, who was a lifelong Brewer. They don't have a lefty pitcher to offer in a deal. It's going to be hard to figure out who they send in a trade for that. Jim Colburn could be sent. Colburn was Kansas City and Milwaukee's player. Again, the issue with Milwaukee during this era is a large number of starting pitchers sprinkled throughout baseball. Mike Caldwell, Jim Slayton, Colburn for like a year with Kansas City, Moose Haas, Jerry Augustine, Pete Vukovich, and then we just talked about Bill Travers. Did I mention Larry Sorensen? No, I haven't mentioned Larry Sorensen yet either. So that's literally 8 Milwaukee pitchers are all active in this era. And the Brewers can't have all of them. So maybe Travers stays with Cleveland based on that assumption. And finally, the Dodgers. Do they even have room for another lefty with Tommy John? So the Dodger lefties are Tommy John, a retiring Jim Umbarger, and a waived Rick Waits. So that clears the deck to bring in Rao. And so Rick Waits, there's your trade right there. Rick Waits is a Cleveland Indian. So I'm going to say trade Waits for Rao. That's a perfect trade. A Cleveland player for a Dodger player between Cleveland and the Dodgers. So that at least solves one of the issues. Once you get Rao, now the Dodgers will have 7 keepers, and now we're going to see how the Dodgers will start moving guys around, like Steve Stone, Bill Buckner. They'll hold on to Say, Garvey. Yeah, be interesting. But anyway, this is all about Cleveland, and they should be okay if they can move left-handed pitching forward effectively, regardless of who it is. They should be good. Their offense is coming back, and it was pretty good last year. All right, thanks for checking out these videos. We'll see you next time.